Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Criterion, and in this edition we look at the film from French director Alice Diop, Saint-Omer. Alice was born in the northern Parisian commune of Auldenay-sous-Bois. Her mother and father emigrated there from Senegal in the 1960s. Now, she studied African colonial history at the Sorbonne and visual sociology at the University of Évry and documentary filmmaking at Le Fernie. She has had a relatively short filmography so far in her career, with La Tour du Monde, that's a documentary feature from 2005, as her first full-length feature, and her most recent film, Saint-Omer. Saint-Omer tells the story of young Senegalese woman Laurence Colly, played by Guslagie Malanda, and a novelist Rama, that's Kayigi Kagame, who attends her trial for murdering her child. Infanticide is one of the most heinous of crimes, especially as the child was only 15 months of age. We see Rama, the writer, waking up, and we meet her partner, Adrian, and then we see the trial begin to unfold, with the judge in the film played by Valérie Dreville, outlining the background of the case, and a sympathetic defence lawyer played by Aurélia Petit. And, of course, an understandably hardened prosecution barrister who wants her sent down for her crime. Now, there are various testimonials given from those involved in Colly's life, such as her mother and her apparent partner, Luc Domonte, played by Xavier Mali. Now, the trial at first appears to be matter-of-fact, but pretty soon we see there is something else going on under the surface, especially in how the writer reacts. She is pregnant, and the effect of witnessing the events taking place at the trial is beginning to take its toll, and she becomes sick in court. Now, the power of this film is not really in the unfolding narrative, but more in the apparent lack of remorse shown by Laurence Colly and the effect her presence has within the courtroom. This actor has to recount her entire life, and she does so with an apparent lack of effort. That's a real talent. But the power of this actor comes through later in the film, when she engages with both the writer in the courtroom, Rama, and the audience watching, with those piercing stares that they exchange, which are indeed quite chilling and somewhat indicative that there's much more behind the motivation for committing the crime. Alice Diop herself was present in the courtroom during the 2016 trial of Fabienne Cabou, who was convicted of killing her daughter in 2013, in the same way as Colly. Diop followed the case at the time and immediately recognised Cabou's features from news footage broadcast as being Senegalese, which is Diop's own family heritage, and she made an instant connection here. Now, like Rama, Diop was also pregnant with her first child at the time, and she states that she attended the trial out of intuition and did not decide to make the film Saint-Omer until after the trial had concluded. Having previously made documentary features only in the past, she decided to make this a dramatic piece, and as such, this is her debut feature in this particular area. She also was heavily influenced by Marguerite Duras' work, and indeed, her work is referenced within the film itself when Rama holds a lecture for students. Filming took place in l'Île-de-France and Hauts-de-France, the regions of France, including the commune of Saint-Omer in 2021. Guslagie Malanda, who plays the role based on the real-life Cabou, found herself in character so taxing that she had nightmares for a whole year, while Diop fainted on the set when the shooting wrapped. The account that Laurence gives of herself is a strange one indeed. Although she admits to having killed her daughter Elise, she pleads not guilty and declares herself not to be responsible for any of her actions. Now, there's another claim she also makes, but I definitely won't reveal that for fear of major plot spoiling. There's also something oblivious about the cultural assumptions made in the trial. The three judges, for instance, the defence attorney, the prosecutor, they're white. And there isn't a black juror in sight either. And for that matter, when Rama walks through the small town, there's hardly a black person in sight. Rama too confronts similar blind spots in her own field. She also views Pasolini's film Medea and compares this to The Trial. Now, the film St. Omer moves at its own pace, which is generally slow. There is no heavy action as such, and very little conversation takes place, but rather there are long monologues given by the central character and, of course, the witnesses, which hold the audience to the narrative. You sense there is more under the surface, and as I said already, I won't reveal what that is, as it would be a plot spoiler. But there are no surreal monsters which manifest except in the mind of the central protagonist. What brings a young mother to the point of taking her own offspring's life? Well, this film won't answer that particular question for you, but at least it does pose it. And it's up to the viewer on how they wish to interpret the events and statements that Diop presents to them. This film doesn't also take the jury's verdict, as it often does in many other courtroom drama films, as its denouement, but chooses a different approach. Now, St. Omer was selected as the French entry for Best International Film at the 95th Academy Awards, and it won the César Award for Best Film. And there are only a few special features on this disc. There's a new 2K digital master with 5.1 surround DTS HD master audio soundtrack. New and archival interviews with Alice Diop. Conversation between Diop and the author Elena Frappa. Conversation between Diop and the filmmaker Dee Rees from a 2023 episode of The Director's Cut. That's a DGA podcast. There's a trailer and an essay by the critic Jennifer Pagani, and the cover art is by Michael Boland. In St. Omer, Alice Diop forgoes mere questions of guilt and innocence in order to plumb the unsettling knowability of the human soul. The film itself has a running time of 123 minutes, and it's in a 1:8:5:1 aspect ratio. That's widescreen, and comes new to the collection, a spine 12:12. So until next time, from me, it's goodbye, and above all, good Criterion viewing.